Exterminate! 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 Exterminate!
You are soft, like all Time Lords. You prefer to stand and watch.
Hello everyone out there in YouTube, and welcome to episode 29 of my Doctor Who action figure reviews. In today's review we are looking at the Resurrection of the Daleks collector's set, the first of 4 Davros box sets to be released by Character Options. So to start things off, I'm going to very quickly talk about the 5th Doctor figure. This figure we've all seen before. I've reviewed this figure in previous reviews. I think it was my first 5th Doctor review actually, so go and watch that if you'd like to know in detail about this figure. But essentially it's the season 21 costume with the sand tan coloured jacket, red stripes along the lapels, celery on the lapel, the cricket jumper with the thicker piping on it, which should be a bit further down and thicker, and the jumper should have a different pattern on it. The inside of the collar is green, as it should be for this season, which is correct. And other than that, we've got the different trousers for that season as they appeared in season 21, as they did change from season 19 and 20. So that's the detail for this figure. Very nice figure. This doesn't come with a sonic screwdriver, but to be fair, he didn't have one in this season. So it's a very nice release of Peter Davison. This version that came in this box set with the thicker piping was the first time we actually saw this version of Peter Davison. So essentially this is every major variant of Peter Davison now released, and I'm very happy to see this one. I actually prefer this to his normal season costume. Articulation wise, it's standard. The head doesn't really want to move like on all Peter Davison figures. The arms can do a 360, the biceps do a 360, and so do the wrists, and the arms bend, and the legs can go forward and backward and out to the side slightly, hindered by the coat. The thighs have 360 articulation, and there's no ankle articulation, but the knees do bend. So that's the 5th Doctor. Very, very nice, but not much to say, but it's always good to get a few Doctor variants. Standard drone. This is the model of Dalek as seen in Resurrection of the Daleks. This is just your general Dalek design. Articulation is standard for all Daleks. The head does a 360. Mine's very stiff as I've not used these Daleks very much, as I like them a lot. The eye stalk goes up and down. It can be removed as well. This one's like that. There we go. So, but it can easily be placed back in. The gun stalk and plunger are on ball jointed sockets, so they can go in all directions. And apart from that, the Dalek is on 3 wheels, as you can see at the base. So standard Dalek articulation, and it's the same for the Supreme Dalek there. So detail wise, well, in terms of detail, this Dalek is very similar to previous models. It's kind of like the Genesis models, however there are some obvious differences. Colour wise, it's in a very bluish kind of grey. I'm not sure whether in the story it was this colour. I know they re-released the Resurrection Dalek with slightly different paint job, because I don't really think it was this kind of bluey grey. I thought it was more like in Destiny of the Daleks. I thought it was a little bit darker than that. But no, this colour scheme's alright. I quite like it. And it does look like the Daleks from that story. Other than that, you've got the hemispheres and the slat painted in a gloss black, with the mesh painted in the same turquoisey grey blue. It's not silver, and if we have a look around there, mine's got a sculpt malfunction, so the paint's chipped off, so I'm gonna have to go and paint that myself. But other than that, it's very, very nice. This section here is painted in the matte black, and the shoulder section, and the oval circular shape is painted in the matte black as well. Slight paint issue there where the paint hasn't gone all over, but I can live with that. This Dalek also has a new eye sculpt, if I just zoom into that. As you can see, it's a completely white head eye stalk, and as you go down, the discs get a lot smaller, and the large one there, and they gradually get smaller as you go along. This eye stalk is completely white here until you get to the actual dome of the eye. And this is a new sculpt as well, because the front of this eye is completely flat as opposed to being rounded, and you've got a very, very small pupil at the center of the eye. So this eye stalk is how it is in the story. All the Daleks have these, and even in Revelation of the Daleks, I believe they have these eye stalks, but the figures change them. Another notable feature of this Dalek is it's the first Dalek. These were the first Daleks to have these rigid dome lights. These were a new sculpt for these figures, which are very, very nice. These are how they should be. These are just slightly transparent plastic, because there is a little bit of a coating over these ones. It's kind of it's like a very dull grey, and then you've got the black ring around the top, but that's which is very, very nice. But you can still see through both of them if I just turn around there. You can't see through that one as much, but they're both very, very nice. Makes it look like the ones on screen. The one thing I will note with these Daleks, be careful of the neck bin, as you can't really see very well here, but the little sections here, this one's slightly off angle like that, and you can see the little spokes here are off to an angle as well, so just be careful when you get your set that you look out for things like that, as that may happen. In terms of the sculpt of the Dalek, it's the same sculpt as they use on all their Daleks, so pretty standard really. The one thing I will say is it's not entirely accurate like the Imperial Daleks, as if you look at the story, there are some Daleks which have a little section between the beginning of the midsection and the head section that just separates it. It's like the Series 4 Supreme Dalek. There's a little gap, extra bit between the head and the midsection, which makes it a bit taller, and some of the Daleks in this story do have this, however the sculpt doesn't reflect that. So if you're looking for a accurate sculpt, you have it apart from this little neck section, but I can sort of live with that. It's only a minor thing, and I think it might also exist on the Revelation of the Daleks as well. So other than that, other details are the plunger is completely black, as it was in the story. Very, very nice. Just completely smooth, matte black plastic. And so is the gun. And then, of course, you've got the bottom piece, the fender at the bottom. That's in a smooth matte black paint as well. So that's the drone Dalek from the story. Very, very nice variant. And it's always good to have drone variants, as they all look very similar from the 70s and 80s, all grey, so you can all stick them in stories together for action figure adventures for a Dalek army. So the next figure I'll look into very quickly is the Resurrection Supreme Dalek. This variant of Supreme Dalek I absolutely love. I think it's a fantastic variant of Supreme Dalek. I've always liked this model, mainly because the colour is so striking. It's exactly the same sculpt as the Resurrection drone, except as you can see, it's got the same eye stalk, dome lights, slats, and gun stick and plunger. The only difference is that this one is in a gloss black finish. It's very, very nice Dalek, painted in gloss black. And then you've got the gloss black slats with the mesh in between being completely white. And you have the gloss white hemispheres. And I've always liked this paint scheme because this Supreme Dalek just looks very, very cool. I think the gloss black and white go together very, very well. It's kind of like a reversal of the paint scheme of the current Supreme Dalek in the new series, which is white with grey and black hemispheres. So that's all I have to say really on this Supreme Dalek. A very, very nice variant. Slight issue, as you can see there on the eye stalk, of the paint bleed, but I can live with that. And again, this one has quite a problem with the this piece here is actually separated from this part of the head, but again I can live with it. I've tried pulling it down. I've just moved it slightly. That's a bit more even. So just be careful when choosing your set that you pay good attention to the Daleks in particular, as you don't want wonky Daleks in your collection. And so we move on to the main feature of this review, a figure that everybody was waiting for quite a while when the classics first started, and that is, of course, the man himself, the evil genius, Davros. Now, I love this figure. It's Davros for a start. I've always liked Davros. I think he's an excellent villain. And what I like even more is they've captured the likeness of Davros in figure form spot on. 100% this is Davros, and I think the detail is excellent because it's definitely a good representation of Davros from Resurrection of the Daleks. So I'll just go into articulation very quickly, as there isn't much. On 3 wheels like a Dalek, as you can see, as he is essentially a Dalek from the bottom. The arm can't really do a 360 because of the back of his chair, but the bicep can do a 360. Be careful when you first get it, as it won't twist very well. And the hand can do a 360, but be careful of the overlapping cuff of his tunic, as it may make the hand come out. So that's the articulation for Davros. Not much, but Davros doesn't have much mobility in the story. So detail-wise, this of course is Davros as seen in Resurrection of the Daleks, as played by the excellent Terry Malloy, my personal favourite Davros. I do like Michael Wisher and David Goodson, and the other one whose name escapes me at the moment, Julian Bleach. But this is the Davros I always remember. I remember him in Remembrance of the Daleks being excellent in that big bulbous white and gold casing, and I always remember him in Resurrection of the Daleks when he has those excellent speeches. So if I just zoom into the head, as you can see, Character Options have done an excellent job in capturing the look of the mask. He's got the kind of melted skin, and then you've got all these dark highlights of his brows, and I think they've really done an excellent job with the paint job on this one. They've got like the kind of greenish skin colour and then darker washes to highlight the other parts of the indentations of his skin or on the mask, and it really does look like the Terry Malloy Davros on screen. And then they've given the eyes a dark reddish wash as well, as they were. Now looking at the head brace and everything, it does look a bit odd, as it is quite big, and on the prototype it looked bigger, but I'm actually very pleased with how they've done it, as it is very difficult to do. The head brace is completely silver and goes over his head. It's attached to the head brace at the blue head brace at the back, and the wires, the red and orange. Well, a red, yellow. I thought they were supposed to be orange, if I'm remembering correctly from the story. I don't quite remember, but I could be mistaken. Just switch my light on a second, as the light's gone in here. As you can see, very, very nice detail on the eye. It's completely blue. Nice little sculpt. It has got some more details on screen, like there should really be a dot on the eye, but I can sort of live without it, as it does look very, very nice anyway. And of course you have his microphone, which just goes from the back of the blue brace and round to front, and this is the microphone as seen in Resurrection, as it does change in other models with the white piece at the end. So that's the head sculpt. If we go to the back of his chair, mine's unfortunately slightly warped, so be warned with this with your Davros. As you can see, it's got the shoulder pads and the back bit for his head to rest on as well. This is completely silver with the black highlights as well. If you can't get these won't always be even. If you can't get them to move, just try and ease them into position, or stick them in boiling water and give it a bit of a remoulding. But other than that, the chair's very, very nice, and it's got these two little bolts at the back as well, and then the little bit that attaches it to the chair. The tunic is very, very nice. It's been sculpted very, very well with all the little bits and pieces of the creases and everything, and the little zip attachment there on his tunic. And you've got the other arm sculpted, which doesn't move as well, and that just goes all the way down into the depths of his chair as well. And I really do like the tunic sculpt because of all the creases. One thing to note about the tunic is the body and the general base is from a Michael Wisher Davros. The only thing that changes is the head sculpt. However, this Davros came first. This was the first Davros released, but they just used one sculpt for the body, which they could get away with as there were only minor changes to the body of Davros, depending on which actor was playing him. And so the last thing to look at is his chair, or I've heard it called a chariot in some cases, or a carriage. It's a wheelchair, it's always been a wheelchair for me. As you can see, completely matte black, very, very nice. It's got the raised, that kind of midsection here. This is completely flat on the Michael Wisher version, if I remember correctly, and this bit's just slightly raised at an angle, as it should be for this story. You've got the two little bumper bits, which only featured on the Resurrection and Revelation chairs. They weren't on the Destiny or Genesis chair in the actual stories, these bits here. And that's just painted in matte black. You've got the small silver hemispheres as well, which are very, very nice. The angle of Davros's chair is also different to Daleks, if I just put that there. The Dalek ones aren't as steep as the Davros one, but that's correct as well, and that's very, very nice. If I tilt the chair forward and just lift Davros's arm, you can see all the controls as they were in that story. If you pay attention to Davros's chair, you've got the yellow control panel here, the white, red and green buttons that were there, this little black section here, which I don't know what's for, as well, the four green switches which Davros uses in the story to pull out to summon the injector from the insides of his chair. And of course you have the compartment where the injector is housed when he injects Kisten and the Daleks and various other people. And on the back here we've got the little bits here. You can kind of see the screw there, but these are covered up in later versions. This is completely transparent plastic with a little bit of a Perspex kind of effect on it as well. This is very, very nice. And there's a little bonus feature which I didn't know existed until I got the figure in hand. If you watch Resurrection of the Daleks, you know that there are malfunctions in Davros's life support system, and Kisten has to do some maintenance on it. So to represent this, character options have given you the little hatch, which has been done very, very nicely. Obviously it doesn't look exactly like it does in the story, but they've just done a little circuit board in there and puts various circuits. It's basically painted in silver and then given a black wash over it. And that's a very, very nice little feature and very, very detailed. So well done to character options for putting that in. Very, very nice little feature. If you look at pictures online, this little hatch here looks quite obvious, but that's mainly because of the photo. If you had the figure in hand, like, look, if I just point it that way, you can barely see the line, and if I was zoomed out even more, you'd barely even notice that that's there. So it doesn't interfere too much with the design, and it's a very, very nice feature, which did it got kept on other Davros models also. So that's basically everything on Davros. It's a fantastic figure. I'm very glad to see Terry Molloy represented in the plastic, and all in all it just makes the set a little bit more special. So that's everything I have to say. Thank you for watching this review, guys. If you'd like to know more information about the Resurrection of the Daleks set, go and check out Batman March's blog or watch his Resurrection of the Daleks set review. You can buy this in Forbidden Planet only. This is an exclusive set, along with all the other Davros sets. These cost you £40 to £45. I think my local Forbidden Planet Hanley, is selling them for £42 at the moment, but you might get them a bit cheaper in yours, I don't know. They're very hard to find, some of these sets. Some are more common than others. And I think it's definitely worth it, as it is the first Davros. It's Terry Molloy, and you do get two very nice Daleks as well, and of course you get a Doctor. So thank you for watching this review, guys. My next review will of course be the Revelation of the Daleks collector's set, which follows the same suit as this set: a Doctor, a variant of Davros, and two Daleks. So thank you for watching this review, guys, please watch, like, and subscribe, and I shall see you in my next Doctor Who action figure review.
Did you bother to tell anyone they might be using their own relatives?
Certainly not!